Hello, we are looking at a graph of a polynomial, and we are supposed to talk about the leading coefficient, the degree, the number of extrema, the number of solutions, all based on this graph. So let's start with the leading coefficient. When I look at the graph, the left-hand side is increasing or going up, and the right-hand side is increasing or going up. So because both of them are pointing up, I know that the leading coefficient is positive. And we first saw this when we looked at a parabola and we looked at A, and we saw that if A was positive, then the parabola would be concave up. So here we know that that leading coefficient is positive, just like the parabola, because the overall concavity, the overall shape, these ends are going up and it would be concave up. Next, we're supposed to say some things about the degree. So the first thing I want to say is that since the two ends are up, the degree is even. And that is because our two ends in the same direction. I am going to be able to tell a little bit more about the degree, but that is my first piece of information. Next, it asks me about the number of extrema, and extrema just means minimums and maximums. So right here, I see a relative minimum. It's a low point. It is not the lowest, but it's relative. Right here, I see a relative maximum. And again, it's not the highest that this function will ever be, because it will go higher at both ends, but it is a high point. And down here, I see the true lowest point, so an absolute minimum. So my number of extrema is 3. And so that leads me back to degree. We have talked about the degree is equal to 1 plus the extrema. So in our example, we counted 3 extrema, so our degree is at least degree 4. We cannot tell from the graph if it would be more than 4 or not. So it could be 6, and we could have some imaginary solutions, and we could have some things that didn't end up creating an extrema, but we need to have at least a degree of 1 higher than the number of extrema. So as far as the number of solutions, we know that it will match the degree. So based on what we had figured out over here at the degree of at least 4, we know that there are at least 4. And we actually see 4 on the graph. So we see a solution here, which would be a 0. We see another solution here. And right here at this relative maxima or minimum, because it hits the graph, we would have what is often referred to as a double root. So that is 2 solutions. And we have that double root whenever the graph exactly touches rather than crossing over the x-axis. So we are able to tell the sign of the leading coefficient. We are able to tell if the degree is even and odd, and we're able to tell what the minimum would be. We're able to see the number of extrema, and we know that the number of solutions will match the degree, and we can actually see 4 real solutions here, but there could be additional imaginary solutions or complex solutions.